It's the T with Auric B. Now tune in. Woo! Come on now. Let's go.
Well, hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back into another episode of the Tea with Auric B. Oh, yes, I left you on a cliffhanger last week. I know, you're welcome. Love you, Mina. Nothing a little Xanax can't take care of. Yeah, it was a lot. So today, on the continuation of that is when I'm going to continue on the biggest disruption of my life. And it was the worst fucking time of my life ever. And it felt like it was never going to end. And it was so bad. But looking back on it now, it literally was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And so I'm going to dive in. Let's get right to it. You're like, shut the fuck up and get right to this episode because I've been waiting for a week. My nails are gone because I've been biting them off. What is going on? Okay, maybe not that dramatic, but it's fine. Let a boy dream. All right. If you have not listened to episode or Disrupt Part 1, you need just don't even try to get here. Go back and listen to it, okay? So where I left off there was your boy here had just been let go, terminated, and literally accused of drug diversion. Told you the tea was hot. And turned into the board of nursing by Vanderbilt Trauma. Oh, yes. After a year and a half of being a nurse, after paying so much money for my nursing degree, busting my fucking ass off to be the best that I could be, and leaving a perfectly wonderful career up in Indianapolis with a beautiful floor, all this stuff. And had just been awarded the NELRP program. Like, set my life up. Like, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be here. It's going to be great. Going to live in Nashville. Perfect. CRNA. Bam. Here we go. And then that happens. Completely and utterly blindsided me, y'all. I did not see it coming. And it was the first time in my life, you're like, oh, woe is him. But it was the first time in my life that something like that had ever happened. I was used to being the best of the best. Like, I'm not a fuck up. I don't break the law. I don't do things bad. I don't, number one, I don't fucking steal drugs and take them. If you want to see me on fentanyl, honey, I would probably die if I even looked at it wrong. I would be in the hospital floor. Like, really, come on. And that's just not in my nature. Like, I want a good life. I'm trying to make the most out of being in this meat suit that I can. And so that was very foreign to me, and it was very shocking. Like, here I have changed my career from music education pretty much to go spend all that money on a nursing degree to then get in this job for this to happen. Like, that's a lot of fucking money. Like, and as a nurse making what they offer me, $19.89 an hour, it's fucking laughable. This isn't no goddamn Taylor Swift album. Okay. This is somebody's life and you got to pay bills. They were also like, well, you're going to be working for Vanderbilt. I was like, the name Vanderbilt does not pay my bills. Like, fuck off. Like, so it was very, very startling to me to have that happen and be like, what is going on? Like, I've been a good kid. What did I do so wrong? Like, what did I do? Like, did I fuck up? Like, and even part of me, I'm like, oh, you're gay. You don't deserve that. This is what happens to gay people. Thanks, religious programming growing up. I mean, I went through all of the emotions with that. It was very shocking because I was like, how can just somebody, like, I worked my ass off for my degree and somebody just accused me without even looking at proof, without even anything. Nobody turned me in. Nobody was curious or like, none of that. I had just been given a reward from the same guy, this interim manager that knew nothing about the goddamn trauma unit, keep in mind. No. Just could take and just fuck my whole life up without even thinking about it. It's nothing to him. And I hope, oh God, if it ever gets back to this person, I hope there's a special place in hell for you, buddy. And I hope you get completely and utter fucked by every spiky dick out there that's dripping in syphilis. Like, that's where I'm at, okay? Anywho, just to work all that hard and then have somebody like could throw it away like that. That was terrifying in itself. And that's really where a kind of a downfall. I had such a major disruption in my life that I was like, holy shit, I was not prepared for it. And neither was my partner. And it kind of was the start of the downfall of our relationship a little bit. Like, you know, and it, ugh. So I'm going to do my tea. There we go. Up there. You'll love this tea mug. It's hilarious. Of course I have to have this tea mug. So I remember leaving and just like he left, walked out of the room like it was nothing. Like, okay, fuck you. Peace out. And being like sitting there with the assistant manager who knew better, had no words. She was just like, I'm so sorry. Like, try to console me. I was sobbing. I was like, my whole life is turned upside down. And I remember leaving and just losing it. And I'd been struggling with anxiety. I mean, whoever's went through nursing school and doesn't struggle with anxiety, that, okay, please communicate with me. We're gonna write a book together. But it was just, it turned my world upside down. I remember going home and then I felt like a failure to my partner at the time, you know, and I'm just like, this is like, what? Like, how did this happen? Like, you go from doing everything right. You don't, like, I get, like, and I get it. Like, I get it. There's drug diversion is big in the hospital and all this stuff. But when you actively know that it's on a certain day that they were understaffed and of what I went through and all that stuff, there should be something, like, there should be some understanding on that. There should have been like, this is the day, and the assistant manager would be like, have my back and be like, yes, this is the day that we were understaffed and he had to deal with all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. No wonder, you know, and he was pulled off of orientation early. So hello. Okay. And it's another thing if I was of being accused of doing it, but nobody had done that, not anything at all. So I was like, this is not right. But I was like, how can I fight this? How can I fight this? So I immediately went through the appeal process. I was like, this is not right. So I went through, and what was supposed to take about a month and a half took almost like 9 months to almost a year to kind of get answers through. It was fucking awful. So go through, and I go through each stage. The very first one, I meet with the person that's kind of over the ICUs. And I would give anything if I should have recorded this conversation. I should have recorded all of them because then I would have had them fucked. So I go in, meet with this person, and he was like, basically was like, the trauma unit is different. This is known. And like, you should have never lost your job. You should have been put on PIC, performance improvement counseling, or put back on orientation during trauma season, like to show you how to hold the rope. So I was like, okay, great. This is the person over the ICU, all the ICUs. And I was like, okay, then thank you. Like, that's what I'm thinking. I was like, I get it. Like, okay, I didn't document it, but like, that was a lot. And it was on a day, all this stuff. But I didn't get my job back. I was like, what the fuck? So I went to the next level. All right. And I was like, what the hell's that? And went through that, which is even higher up in HR and all that stuff. And I told them everything. And she goes, yeah, this wasn't handled appropriately. You should have never been terminated for that. You should have been at least put back on orientation or PIC, performance improvement counseling. Okay, great. Let's do that. But didn't get my job back. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I went through the next stage, and where I pulled the gay card, I was just like, I was one of the only few out people. And I had been told, it was heard through grapevine, can't confirm it, that this interim manager had made some anti-LGBT remarks. So I was like, okay, bitch. It's like, maybe you just didn't like this fabulousness. Went through, of course, they couldn't prove anything, but they even said, this wasn't handled appropriately. You should have been put on PIC or put back on orientation. So I had 3 people this to go through, like, to dispute everything. say I should not have been terminated and I should have been put on orientation or PIC. But I didn't get my job back. They wouldn't undo the thing. And I'm like, and I took to each of them, I'm like, here's the drug screen. I was taken the day that you all accused me of doing that. They all looked at it, yeah, like this. And they were like, you even broke your all's policy. You accused me of it. Accused me of being a drug user, but you won't even literally drug screen me. So it was a nightmare. And that was supposed to take only a month and a half. It took months. So in the meantime, I've moved on. I went somewhere and worked and all that stuff. But God, they were so behind the time. It was CVICU. And the equipment was like from the dinosaur ages. Everybody was coding left to right. They would code people instead of preventing codes. It was awful. And I was like, during my orientation, that was 3 months. And I was like, peace out. I don't even want to be here anymore. So I left that and I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? I had this tick of a termination and I couldn't apply for a job. I was lucky to get an interview with that one. But it was not good. And I was like, it was a lot of nurses pitting against each other, and kind of a similar situation, just like they were like, anybody that comes on that wants to climb up and that where they see potential, it's a threat to them. So they're going to say shit, they're going to make up stuff, all that stuff. So I was like, peace out. I don't even want to be part of this. But I was like, where else am I going to go? I applied for other ICUs. Like, I had the experience. I'm a damn good nurse. And like, nobody would interview. They're like, what happened? And like, what was I going to say? Like, I was like, give me an interview. I'll tell you exactly what happened. But I couldn't get an interview. And I was like, is my career over? Like, it was fucking awful. Like, and I had just been a nurse for a year and a half. And keep in mind, guess what I also had to do that week? I had to tell the NELRP program I couldn't accept. So now, I'm getting emotional. Now I'm responsible for my student loans, which is fine. But when I knew I had an out, I knew about that program before even going in. I was like, I can apply for that, work for a hospital, boom, boom, boom. I know I'll get it. And I did get it. But here I am, thanks to this medical university. Like, I am literally screwed. I'm also broke as fuck at that point, like making $19.89. I'm like, what am I going to do? So I was like feeling rock bottom, and I'm like, God, I feel like I let down to my partner. Like, he's having to take over everything. I'm getting depressed. I'm like, what is this? So I had a friend of mine that was just like, well, I know an oral surgeon that's looking for somebody to run their upfront, kind of like manage that. And I was like, anything at this point, I'll do that. But they might like the fact that you're a nurse and, could sedate and all that stuff. So I finally, I was just like, can we make this happen? Can we make this happen? And finally made it happen. And it was the lifeline that I needed. And went in, and they knew all the situation what happened. They didn't care because they knew my friend, and my friend vouched for me. So that's how I got into oral surgery and started that job. I loved it. Like, it wasn't a nurse at first, but I was learning how to run a very successful, very wealthy clinic. And looking back on it with what I do now, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, a lot of that knowledge I wouldn't have had if it wasn't for that. So I started doing that, but I'm still depressed. I'm like, this is not what I want to be doing. I didn't go to nursing school to sit behind a desk and be administrative assistant and then kind of manage and all that stuff. It just felt like I was defeated. Like, here I am, like you went to Vanderbilt, a top 20 university. You went to that. Like, how are you here? Like, what is the deal? So anyways, but I'm just happy to be in a job where I was actually making more money than I was at Vanderbilt Trauma. So I was like, okay, that's a win. I think I was making like $1 less than the night shift diff. So I was making more than I would. I was making more money than day shift nurses there. So I was very thankful for that. And so get in there, I'm doing my thing. And then eventually in that job, I ended up going back to dental assisting school and being a dental assistant to learn all the tools with that, and then ended up doing assisting with surgeries and utilizing my nursing degree. And they really loved having a nurse on staff to be able to help with that. I mean, I had some celebrities that would come up and be like, "Can you bring my boy back?" And they wanted me to hold their hand and help with their surgeries and stuff. So great experiences. Very thankful for that. And so anyways, I'm like, okay, finally got a job. I can move on. Go. Here we go. And so in the interim, the Board of Nursing sent their investigator. And I had to do a meeting with them, which, and anything like that, it's like, hey, we need to speak to you in the principal's office. You almost shit your pants, piss your pants. And it's like, you get that just sinking feeling, that full head to toe body rush that doesn't feel good. So anyways, I was like, okay, set the meeting up with them. I met with the investigator. I showed them proof, showed them receipts. They talked to Vanderbilt, and they also talked to me. And at the end of it, she goes, yeah. She was like, this was not handled. She was very familiar with Vanderbilt's policy. She goes, it sounded like you should have been put back on orientation or on PIC and like had them help you. So I was like, I went off. I was like, this is not right, blah, blah, blah. So they did their investigation. She came back and she goes, we investigated with Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has redacted. We don't think that you were, they don't think you were taking drugs, all that stuff. I was like, no shit, Sherlock. And everything's fine. So I get a letter from the Board of Nursing that is this basically a slap on the hand that's just like, we want you to do 40 continuing education hours on documentation. And again, I was like, I get it. If you don't document it, it did not happen. If you are a nurse, listen to me. Cover your ass. Document everything. If they say you have a doctor barking orders at you, fuck that. You don't work for the doctor in the healthcare system, number one. You work for the hospital, the same hospital that those doctors work for. If they're barking at you to get these medications, you do the legal thing. And I hate to say it, but it's just like, if I had to go back and do it and they're yelling out, pull this, and then they're like, pull this again. I'm pulling one thing at a time. I'm going to get another RN to go over through there. I don't care how much they're yelling at me. And sadly to say, I don't care how much, like if the patient's passing away, like there's no protection. These people do not fucking care for you. They will throw you out and your nursing career away in 2.5 seconds flat. So cover your ass. Go to the Pyxis, ignore the screaming, pull it out, do it, document yourself. Okay. I own that. Like I get it, but come on. So where was that? I digress. Oh, so they were like the slap on the hand, 40 CEs. I had that done within a week's time, going on my merry way. I'm like, yay, I'm done with this. Praise, geez, hallelujah, amen, boom. I'll have that. I'll have record of it. That way, if I go into an interview for a nursing job, it's fine. Like I can explain what happened. Here you go. You think it's going to end on a happy story, don't you? Love that journey for you. Okay. So, I go on my merry way. 9 months go by. I'm in my thing, doing my thing, trying to let that pass, trying to deal with the anxiety and all that it caused. And I am going through, and 9 months had passed almost to the date, and I get a letter in the mail. And Chris was like, my partner, he was like, you have another letter from the Board of Nursing. I was like, okay. So I opened it thinking anything. This letter stated, we are basically redacting what we had sent you. We are revoking your nursing license. And if you want to protect your nursing license, the only way that we won't revoke it is if you go through TNPAP, which is Tennessee Professional Assistance Program, which is basically a system designed for drug users to go protect their license. I was like, what? And they're putting me on probation for 3 years. I was like, just gutted again. I was like, here, I thought this is behind me. And here it is just again, like, I was like, oh, that was just the tip, universe? Okay, great. And the universe is like, here's the whole shaft. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, what is this? So I immediately am just like distraught. And I call my lawyer up, who is a nurse and a lawyer. And he was like, he's been doing this for 20 years. He was like, I have never seen this happen. He goes, what is this? He's also good friends with the Board of Nursing lawyer, who he called and was like, dude, I've been with them for years. I've never seen this happen. Even the investigator was like, we already investigated this. This doesn't have anything to do with drug diversion. It was literally documentation error, like blah, 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 blah. And most of the fault, like he shouldn't have lost his job. He should have been put on PIC or back on orientation. They've never seen this before. And so keep in mind that like they had sent their letter, boom, completely like here you go. Like I should have been sat in the back and forgot about. But something 9 months go by. I don't know how I got brought up again. That I'm still trying to get to the root of. But I literally was brought up again, and then they redact what they did and they revoke my nursing license unless I go through the drug assistance program. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So I had to do it. So I called TNPAP and they were like, okay, like you need to go have 2 psychiatric evaluations, both of which were $1,800 a pop, both of which I had to pay for. Keep in mind on that type of a income. Okay. Went through it. Both of them were, both came back and they were like, this is not a drug problem. Everything's fine. So turn that into the TNPAP program. I get a call from the director. And he was like, well, sometimes people lie on these things. So we're going to slap you with a 2-year monitoring agreement. I was like, your boy here snapped. And I might have went off on the director of TNPAP, which is fine. But I was like, I was going to get hit with it anyway. So might as well just say, fuck it and let him have it and release some steam. So yeah, even after 2 psychiatric evaluations that I had to pay for, that both said, no, like this is not a thing. They accused me of lying and slapped me with a 2-year monitoring agreement, which I had to every single day it was going to be for 2 years. I had to log into a computer screen and see if I was being selected for a drug test. I knew I was going to get at least 1 a month, could have been more. Okay. And if they had drug test, I had to be there within a certain time. I had to drug test that day. If I did not, nursing license was gone. So great. And these drug tests happen at a Vanderbilt facility. I was like, fuck you. I was so over it. Yeah. So I was like, are you kidding me? I'm just like, what? And my partner's like, what in the world? I'm like, I don't even understand this. So it's just, if I couldn't be beaten down anymore, this was showing me that I could. So I had to sign it or I was going to lose my nursing license. So every day, your boy here had to log into a computer screen and I had to go back to my office and luckily they knew and they were so whatever, but it's still like, it's embarrassing, but then also at the same time, you're like in the back of their head, well, is he? Like it was this stereotype and that caused so much panic and anxiety and all that I had to, I'm probably still trying to undo, but I had to log in. And then if they said drug screen, even though I don't take drugs, I would get that complete impending doom. What if it's a false positive? Like what if something happened? I couldn't eat poppy seeds. I couldn't have alcohol. I couldn't have food that alcohol was in. If alcohol came back in my thing, I literally lost my nursing license. It put me on such eggshells, like to go out and eat. I had to make sure that there was a list of ingredients that didn't have in it. Couldn't drink, couldn't do anything. It was absolutely asinine. And then the panic would set in when I would have something and I'm like, oh, fuck, that had that in it. And I'm like, oh, well, if I get drug tested tomorrow, it's going to literally pop up as a false positive. You talking about anxiety provoking beyond what I can even imagine. It was absolutely fucking awful. And I had to do that. And there was one point, they were like, if you need to go on vacation, they were like, just let us know and then we'll all that. And I was like, okay, great. So there was a time where I think I was going on Thursday and then was going to come back on Sunday to East Tennessee, which is where they live 4.5, almost 5 hours away. And I let them know and they're like, okay, cool. We'll pause everything. I go. And on Friday, I literally get pulled for a drug screen. I was like, I can't make it back within the time frame to Nashville. You guys weren't supposed to. They're like, sorry, you have like 2 hours to get there. And I'm like, I'm 4.5 hours away. Like, what the? I was like, I can't do it. Sorry. And they finally were just like, okay, there's a place in Knoxville, so you got to go. So I had to drive 1.5 hours to get that done. And then they proceeded to cut 17 chunks out of my hair. So they did a hair one to make sure that, I guess, with the drugs, they would grow in your hair. So I literally look like the fucking Angelica doll from Rugrats. And it was so much that I was like, I'm not even going to do this. Like, I don't even trust them. So I just packed my stuff and literally drove all that time and then just went to Knoxville, did it, and then came back. Oh, hit the mic. So that was that. So after a year and 17 drug tests later, they literally called me and they were like, hey, we're going to let you out early. This is clearly not drug abuse related. And I was like, no shit, Sherlock. And I was like, Josh, at the time it was Josh. I was like, shut up. Like, just boom. So they let me out of my monitoring agreement after they were like, yeah, you don't have a drug program. I was like, No shit. You think? And I still had probation. That probation ended in 2015. Yeah, so I was just at the start. After all that, I was still working for the oral surgeon, and then ended up working for a really high-end cosmetic dentist. And then I started my business shortly after that. And then I was trying to so it was still whenever I first got into aesthetics. And yeah, I think it ended in May of 2015. The probation was done, but you can literally go on, it's on my license, and it will say like everything. Like for those 3 years, my multi-state was taken away. I can only practice in the state of Tennessee, and all that. And then it was lifted, but it's still on there. And it was, I think the paper's like the paper was like for misorderly conduct. I'm like, the only misorderly conduct that was how Vanderbilt University Medical Center handled this goddamn situation. So, that was that. And afterwards, now, this was from other employees on the unit, okay? So I'm just going based on what they said. This is what happened after, a few months after I had left, after I was terminated. They had 2 nurses up there that knowingly, one of them came in drunk. And this is what I'm hearing. Again, this is what I'm hearing from the other employees there of a situation that happened. They had a nurse knowingly come in drunk, and had the other nurse stole a Tylenol from the Pyxis from a patient and started an IV on her, which, keep in mind, that is knowingly stealing medication and practicing medicine without a license, which is starting an IV on someone. Yep, they were terminated. They went through the appeal process. Both of those got their job back. Yeah. Got her job back. She showed up drunk to work, and another nurse stole medication and practiced medicine without a license, starting an IV on her. They got their job back. That was one scenario. And then the other thing that I had heard from there, which this made me so mad. This made me so fucking mad. There was a procedure nurse that had been there his entire career. I think he was like 2 weeks away from retirement or something like that. And it was a known thing up there. This was a practice that, like, if this happened, they, like, one of the people would tell you this is what you do. It was common. Again, it's trauma unit. They're like, we're different. Like, you can do that up here. Like, this is what we do. You ain't got time, whatever. So, for example, if you get a level 1 come in and they got a hangman fracture, or they've got like their neck and where they could move and be paralyzed, if they get combative, traumatic brain injury, and they start seizing or whatever that propofol. Okay, like in Tennessee, you cannot push propofol, but on the trauma unit, you were told to literally, if they didn't have an order for propofol, you were to go to a neighbor's thing, somebody else that had propofol hanging, take a needle, draw it out, and push it in their line. Because you ain't got time to wait for an order, because they're going to be paralyzed by the time that happens. If they start seizing, they start getting combative, and that hangman's fracture, I mean, it could kill them, it could make them paralyzed. You got to get them set down and sedated fast. You do not have time to go to the Pyxis you don't have time to wait on the order from the doctor. You don't have time to go to the Pyxis to get it up. You don't have time to set it up. That was literally what you would see people do that all the time. It was an acceptable thing that they would do. So, and evidently this procedure nurse had done this for years. He'd been up there his whole career. So anyways, this same interim manager got wind of that. This person was terminated, turned into the board of nursing. His nursing license was revoked, and he lost all of his retirement from Vanderbilt. He was 2 weeks away from retirement. Yeah. Again, this is what the people that were still in the unit were telling me about, because evidently they were like, you came in and it caused a big, because I uncovered a lot of shit in those stages of appeal. Yeah, I literally went in and was just like, this is what's happening. And I think it scared people, and then they started cleaning house. But somebody that's devoted their entire career to your organization, for some dick to come in and just do that and throw you away like it's nothing when you don't even know the culture and what was required of people up there, to just say, oh, fuck you, done. Yeah. Things changed after that. And I was just appalled, just absolutely appalled. I was like, this is awful. And I know that, and I share this story with you for a few reasons. It's therapeutic for me. To show, if you're still a nurse, cover your ass. If you think these people love you, oh, they throw you your pizza party and they give you your 2-cent raise and, oh, Nurses Appreciation Day, they don't give a fuck. None of them do. They might say they do, but at the end of the day, they do not give a fuck about you. The only person that's going to give a fuck about you is you. All those friends of mine on the trauma unit that knew exactly what happened and all that, found out they didn't approach any of the nurses I told them that could vouch that we wasted everything that was on that page. Yeah, I didn't speak to any of them. And then they all stopped talking to me. Yeah, nobody has your back. So cover your ass always. Always. Document it or it didn't happen. Okay? And if you think they're going to understand, they won't. They won't. As recent news shows, we know the nurse that's in the news that used to work there as well that, had a med error, pretty big med error that cost someone's life. Well, that set the precedent. I think that she's I've got to check in what's going on over there, but you can look up that story, and I think she was accused of like murder, maybe even on that end. I've got to look it up and see what it is. But it's all over the news. You know who I'm talking about. Set a precedent that like now you can be like errors that we're human. Like we're human and things that can happen. Now you can literally charge murder for it's wild. So cover your ass. But also this, to let you know that sometimes the lowest point of your life turns out being the best thing that ever fucking happened to you. Yeah. And you're like, wait a minute. Wait, what? Oh, trust me, girl. It took me a hot minute to get here. Because it ruined me. Like, even afterwards, like when I started this in aesthetics, like I tried to go rent a room at a really nice wellness place. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. This will be perfect. And I go, they loved me. I was going to rent the room. It was perfect. And then a few days later, they're like, I get an email saying like, hey, our landlord looked up your nursing license. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. And he just doesn't feel right. Boom. It put a stigma on me that I was like, this, even after it was done, I still feel like I'm going to have to deal with this. It was a shadow, rain cloud over me. It even led into, there was a surgeon here. And if you just so happen, if you're the surgeon's wife and you're listening to this, I hope you learned your fucking lesson of running your damn mouth. I loved him so much. He was wonderful. I wanted him to be my medical director. And I was like, this is going to be perfect. Let's do some stuff. This is great. And I even thought about like shutting down shop and I would have went to work for him. And then in all that, like all that is just like excuses like left. And I was like, what is this? This is back when I first started too. And I was like, okay, like, and then it was something, this excuse of like, it was the wrong time. They were expanding their office, doing a build out, blah, blah, and stuff, which I totally understand. A medical directorship is not something to take lightly. A lot of medical directors out there that like treat it like a little side gig. And I'm like, you need to take it seriously. So I was like, totally fine. But then I found out years later, from a nurse friend of mine that was like, oh yeah, his wife was telling us like and spreading gossip about something about your nursing license, like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, oh, okay. So this girl got a little from me on social media because she was still hopping up on my stories and praising me and being like, oh my God, we love you so much, blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, that's funny because I hear you've been spreading shit behind my back and gossiping about something that you know nothing about. And instead of giving me the courtesy of coming to me to my face so I can actually let you know exactly what went on, where I could tell you this, and I literally told her very succinctly what happened, I could have told you that, but you didn't give me the courtesy of that. What you had to do was go slander my name behind everybody's back. I have never seen a white woman so much in my life and be like, well, all I know is I'm trying to be a better person. I was like, I don't give two fucks if you're trying to be a better person or not. Fuck you. Yeah. So if you're listening to that, fuck you. So it was wild. It just felt like it was going to carry me. And I was like, what am I going to, like, you know what I mean? So this is just, I tell this story because I've been wanting to tell it for a long time. But I've realized now's the right time because I thought it was it was a really shitty time and a really shitty thing to go through. And I never ever want to go through it again. Anxiety, depression, talk about self-doubting, like self-loathing, getting angry. And it really started, even in the relationship, it started the thing like, here's two successful people. You know, I was a person that went to Vandy, did all this stuff. I was very attractive to people he's going to be successful. That's attractive in a partner. And then this, I'm like, he didn't sign up for that. He had to start paying for everything because I couldn't do it. I had the loan payment, which was absolutely asinine, all these things, and anxiety, depression, and starting to question yourself on everything. It took my confidence away. It took a lot away from me. And I thought it was going to ruin my life. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm not going to go back to music. I can't afford these loans based on that. Like, I knew I could pay them off as a CRNA, no problem. But it really sent me into a spiral for several years. And I remember when I first started my aesthetics career, it was still like undoing, like feeling like when shit's going to hit the fan. I'm still undoing that. Like, when is shit going to hit the fan? And it all started back from that. But I'm here to tell you the positive side to that, because what ended up being the worst moment of my life and the situation in my life, my big disruption moment, ended up being a blessing in disguise. And you're like, how the fuck can you say that right now? I can say that now because I've had many years to reflect on that. That has been 2011. So what, 14 years ago? Yeah. Looking back on it, there was a time, I think last year, or no, over the 2 years, 2 years ago, I guess maybe even 3, when I was just looking back and I'm just like, and I found myself telling the story to somebody and then realizing that I'm not getting angry. I'm not getting flustered. My heart rate's not going crazy. And I was like, And then I saw a reason. I was like, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if that didn't happen. The universe knows me. It knows that don't fuck with my coin and my career. Like, I am ambitious. Here we go. And if I'm on a wrong path, and it's going to take something to really shake my core to get me to pay attention. But I didn't realize that then. I just thought it was the end of the world. But after that, if it wasn't for that happening, I would have still been in probably a trauma nurse, going to CRNA school in a job that I would have fucking hated. I ended up shadowing one. Boring. Oh my God, I'm ADHD. You don't want me being your CRNA behind like a 12-hour surgery. You're probably going to die because I'm probably going to fall asleep. Like, I just can't do it. And then pregnant women, I love you guys, but hell fucking no. Like, I'm not doing those. Like, no ma'am, we're not doing that. Those epidurals, I was like, yeah, So looking back on it, I'm like, okay, that was a swerve. But I was like, you could have done it more gently. You could have used lube and started with a finger. Like, but instead of ramming your 12-inch cock in me with no lube, it's what it felt like. But I ended up in oral surgery. And I remember him being like, hey, can you draw up some tox? And I was like, huh? I was like, okay. So he was like, yeah, I need this amount of tox in an insulin syringe. And so I did that, and I was like, he's about to do some cosmetic injections. And I was like, well, can I do that as a nurse? He was like, yeah, you can. But this also come from like, love you so much. And if you're listening to this, you know who you are. But like, he was the one that was like, he asked me, are you any good at starting IVs? As a trauma nurse, honey, I can start an IV in a dick with my eyes closed. And I have. I've had to do one IV in a penis because his arm was cut off and like blood, and that was the only one the doctor approved it. He was like, start one there, we could finally get some blood flow and all that stuff. So bitch was an IV queen. And I literally looked at him and said, I don't know, are you any good at pulling teeth? Like, yes, I can start an IV with my eyes closed. But like, I was like, I realized then my human design, my sacral authority was like, that was something I responded to. But I wouldn't have been introduced into aesthetics if it wasn't, I wouldn't have been in that job, I don't think. And so I was like, okay. And then I was like, well, can I do this? I'd love to do this for you. But God love him, he was too controlling. So no. But I couldn't let go of that idea. And I was like, So when I ended up leaving there, because the upfront situation got toxic, and I was like, and then it was too, like, I was like, can't do this. So I ended up leaving and trying my thing at Advocare. That was funny, but I did learn a few things there. And then I was like approached to come, because I was really good at practice management. I was approached to work for a very high-end cosmetic dentist. I did that. And I was like, hey, I'll do this, but like, I want to do talks. I want to do aesthetic medicine. And he was like, perfect. So God love him. He paid for my training, one-on-one training, really good training. And then we would holistically treat them. If he did the teeth, the veneers, I could go in and do the lips. I could do face, talks, all this stuff. But when you're really good at running up front, they don't want you in the back. And then they had this some stupid consulting service that like, oh God, gag. It was like a fucking cult, like awful. And I was like, I ain't dealing with this anymore. This is awful. No. Like, I know what it's like. I know what it takes to run like a multi-million-dollar clinic. I mean, I've had one myself, but like they're ruining it for you. And I was just like, oh, I can't deal with this anymore. So I left, and I was like, you know what? I was like, but will you still be willing to do my, be my medical director? Actually, it was kind of like I got let go because I wouldn't put up with the bullshit of this consultant, this people. And I was like, that's fine. Can you be my medical director? And he was like, sure. So I was forever thankful for that. And so I started in aesthetics, and I took the leap of faith and started my own. And then here, you all have seen my journey. It blew up, become one of the top injectors in the country. Social media blew up. I've been on stages in front of like worldwide stages in front of thousands of people. I've mentored, I've trained all over the world. That industry had taken me all over the place. And I realized like it was going to take something that dramatic to wake me the fuck up, to get me off a path that I was not supposed to be on, to get me on the path that I was. And I'm like, I'm thankful it happened. It sucked. It does not take the sting out of it. It doesn't take the trauma out of it. It doesn't take any of that out of it. But looking back on it, now I can look back and be like, if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So the biggest disruption of my life ended up being like one of the best things that could have happened to me, because it's here. And then aesthetics, that was another disruption. Like and that was the cool thing, is like, now I can recognize a disruption and be like, okay, I'm not on the right path anymore. What am I supposed to do? Like aesthetics, I woke up, I had that filler reactions, almost died from it, and didn't recognize myself. And that whole, like I talked to you guys in episode 1 of this season. I didn't recognize myself. And I was like, okay. And I still tried to be in aesthetics. And I changed it a little bit. Like I started mentoring, I started training. That was great. Freaking loved it. That set me up to like mentorship. But then patients would drive, and I was like, what is this? Like, why is this not working? And it was just like, it was fucking with my coin. And I was like, oh, okay, what is it saying? It wasn't meant for me to do that anymore. It was like, you need to go mentorship people, but you need to do it in a way from like life coaching, human design, and place of alignment. And that's where aesthetic alchemy was born. So I've recognized now I don't see aesthetics patients. Like I send them to April, who's in House of Alchemy. She's a healer too, but she also was a ER nurse and an injector for the past 8 years. But it's like I had to step away from it, because the more I was trying to do that, the universe is like, don't make me repeat history. And I'm like, all right, no, I hear you. Okay, we need to move. Like, boom, boom. Now I recognize that in life when I'm not in alignment. I also have learned human design, so I know sacral response. I know when I'm frustrated and I'm not in alignment. So disruptions, when they happen, they might fucking suck. And it might be the worst thing you've ever experienced. And in the moment, like, it's awful. But know if something you're going through right now is a big disruption, it is to disrupt your life, but to get you on a different path. And it may be awful. And you'll be like, how dare you say that? But the most awful things we go through sometimes gets us on the right path. You see all the time somebody near-death experience, or they have an accident and it changes their life physically. They have a death and all that. They go through and they homeless, and then they become like a world famous singer, whatever it is, or an actor. Like, the worst case scenario, the worst thing in your life can turn into be the thing that takes you to rock bottom. But that rock bottom is where you learn to build the foundation of what you're actually supposed to be on. That can get you onto the right path of where you're trying to go. It can get you out of a life that you're not meant to live in or even do, and you might think you want it, but it could be really, really bad for you. Or it's like the universe being like, okay, that's cute, sweetie. I see you. I know that you want that, but like, this is what I need you to do. Okay, oh, you're still not listening. Okay, well, I'm going to fuck you up a little bit so you will listen. Like, your soul came here to fulfill a contract. Like, that's what it was before even, like, being born. Like, you signed up for this shit. So I signed up for that. I signed up for the hardship. And I now know my mission is to help people heal and to help people their emotions and help people in their business and help people get them out of burnout and help them live a life, like literally disrupt their life so they can awaken to the bullshit and transform their life so they can thrive in a life that's theirs. And I know some people that are going through disruptions right now in my aesthetic alchemy, and I'm like, good. It's like the Tower card. The Tower card in tarot comes about, and it's very much, everybody's terrified of that card. And I used to be terrified of it. But I'm also like, now I fucking love it, because I recognize the Tower card is this tower with two people falling out that's been hit by lightning. And the Tower card, basically, people are like, oh my God, that and the Death card. I'm like, when I see those cards, I'm like, yes, bitch, what needs to die out? Because death is beautiful. Death is what is the smell of fall. It's the leaves decaying, like all this stuff. Like, death to me is like, okay, something else can be born. And so I'm like, when I see a disruption or a tower moment, I'm like, let it fucking crumble. I'm like, it's a sign something's out of alignment. This isn't meant for you anymore. It's here to wake you up, disrupt your life, to wake you up, get you off a path maybe that you're not destined to be on. And the more you resist it, the higher the tower, the bigger the fall. So I'm glad that I can look back and share this with you guys from a different standpoint now, to help you all realize that sometimes it takes a disruption to get us off a path, to get us out of a life that we're not supposed to be on, to get us away from people or relationships that we're not supposed to be in, families that we're not supposed to be part of, jobs that we're not supposed to take part of, situations we're not supposed to be part of. And sometimes it's loud because there's something to learn in that. Sometimes it's uncomfortable and it fucking sucks, but it's part of our journey. And a lot of the times it becomes your story later on. So I share that with you to inspire you to know that if you're going through a disruption, good. Open up to it. Open your eyes. Wake up to whatever it's trying to tell you. Transform it and start thriving. If you're going through it right now, my heart's with you, because I get it. It's awful. It's not easy, but I hear you. I see you. I love you. You're not alone, and it's going to be okay. I thought it wasn't going to be okay, but it's more than okay. So let this story always inspire you, that if you're going through the shit show, that storm, honey, there's a rainbow waiting on the other end of it. You just might need to go through some shit first. Okay? Yeah. Told you I was going to take you on a roller coaster this season, honey. Might as well start off with this story straight from the gate. Told you I'd have you gay gasping for a little bit, clutching your pearls, being like, fuck, what the fuck, fuck you, all that stuff. Yeah. That's what your boy went through, and none of y'all knew that. You didn't see that on, so you all see the fame and you see the socials and the success, but you do not know what it took to get there. That's why you cannot compare yourself to social media. We only show you the highlight. We don't show you the bullshit sometimes. You never knew that about me, and I wanted to be vulnerable and share that with you to make you be like, oh, I get it. Yeah. So anyways, there is that, my lovies. Oh, yeah. Let those disruptions happen. Because the real you and the path you're supposed to be on is waiting for you on the other side of that. All right, my lovies. Well, that was good. It's time to rest my throat, drink some tea. Because that was some hot tea today, my loves. Yeah, let you digest on that. But hopefully it inspired you. Let you know that you heard, you're seen if you're going through it. And let you know it's going to be okay. All right, loves. That's the last drop of that tea, sweetie. Mwah!